All right, everybody. Today we got Hugh Smith on the podcast. What's up, Hugh? How are you doing, man?
Big Chance. What's up, brother? It's so good to be here with you. I know we've been trying to do this for a while.
I know we have.
Here.
Yes, guys, Hugh is one of the happiest, most extroverted guys I know. He's been a amazing light in our group 5. We've been through it almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Hugh's been one of the helpers in the group, actually. So that's kind of like where I want to start in this. You know, I think the Bible actually talks a lot about like servant leadership and some other things. And I think you've gotten to give interesting perspective on the group being like in a position to be in like a servant leader role, you know? So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what's that been like? How do you think that's differentiated like your experience from maybe some of the other guys' experiences, and just like tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, within Watt, there's the leadership groups, right? And within the leadership groups, which is a group of, 30, 50 men that we go through this program together for 2 years. Within that group, there's, team guys, guys that like help Jimmy out with just the events and things like that. So that's been part of my role here in the group. And honestly, I feel like it's just come very natural to me, just because that's how I am normally, is just like finding ways to help, looking for things to do to help people. And so I kind of, even if I wasn't a team guy, I can see myself like helping the team guys. You know what I mean? Like I just, it's something that has kind of comes natural to me. So the role of team guy fit really well for me at the time. I had met Jimmy, told him that I was interested in the group. And I asked him like, hey, is there any way that I can like help and get involved? Anything? Like, he's like, as a matter of fact, there's like these team positions. And so it worked out, and he called me or messaged me a little while right before the group was starting, was like, dude, I got one position for team guys, like if you want it. And immediately I was like, yes, I do. It was just a perfect fit for the time. And I guess it really gave me a chance to kind of, I think, be authentically me as well. Like that's something, like I said, I really I look for opportunities to serve and help, and so it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a cool thing to be able to not only go through the experience of WAP, but also be able to like give back to these guys that are also giving to you. And it's like, it's not in ways that you have to necessarily like find on your own. It's like, okay, I'm able to like cook dinner for these guys, or like, like actually physically give back in like a real way to these people. And I think that's like something that the group looks for a lot, which is just like, it's not people just taking all the time. And it's like giving. And I think,
absolutely,
I think you're almost in a position to be able to like get more out of the group, like when you're all the time in that mindset. And I think it's like, I think it's an inspiring thing for like everybody in the group to be able to see of like, these guys are working their ass off. They're getting up before everybody, staying up after everybody. And like, they're working to be able to like be in this position, and like and you see how much you guys like get out of the group. It's like,
100%. Yeah, definitely our ludices that we have, like the weekend retreats that we have. You are probably the last one to go to sleep and the first one up, because you got to make sure that everything is done and taken care of. But you're right, it's been a way to really to give to the group, and to be a part of it in kind of a unique way, I guess. And I've really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've not just with WAP, but like in a lot of other things in my life, like I've often done similar things, like sort of like almost like a trade sort of thing. So that's comes very natural to me. And I've loved it. It's been amazing.
Yeah. On the tangent of giving, I don't know, this is probably like within the first 6 months of like our interactions and things, you introduced a practice, like, and you were just talking about it in the group and things like that, of anytime somebody like asked you for something, you'll give it away to them. Do you still do that?
I was away this weekend in Dallas with group 6.
Yeah.
And Craig, one of the guys in group 6, he asked me, he said, "I like your shirt, dude."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You want it?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you mean you want it? It's your shirt." I'm like, "Well, it's just a shirt, man. If you like it, it's yours." And he's like, "What? Like I would, I could never do that." I'm like, "Dude, it's just, I'm like, one of the things I do, and this has been kind of, I don't know how it came about, but it's just sort of developed over time, and like I did it a few times, and then I kind of thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of adopt this as like
Why?
sort of. There's a few reasons. One, I feel like I never want to really attach myself to like a material, item. I don't want to be so attached that I can't give it away. I do have one exception to that, and that's if someone gave me something.
Okay.
So if someone gifted me something that was
Yes.
special from them, like for example, this jacket I got from my friend from France when I
Loving
worked
it.
for Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
He just gave me this jacket, and I love this jacket, so I would never give this away, you know.
Yeah.
But like anything else that like I bought or I just, accumulated myself, like it's just stuff. It's just, if I can make someone else happy, so be it. I've given away like shoes off my feet. I've given away like my favorite hats. Like, I remember one time at the 7-Eleven down here in Lehigh, I
Yeah.
was in there and the lady, "I like your hat." I'm like, "Here you go, it's
There you
yours."
go.
And it was like my favorite hat. And you should have seen the smile on
Yeah.
her face, She's like, "What?" Like I'm like, "Enjoy," and I don't know, just that. I guess that's maybe just my way of just bringing some.
Why do you think people have like weird reactions to that?
Probably because the world we live in, man, people are just so people just have that like you have to accumulate so much, accumulate so much, and attach yourself to your worth to things and to materialistic things. There's just this need in our society to like accumulate and then like place our value on what we have.
And so they think it's like an unusual factor for you to be like totally detached from any material possession.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it. And I've been able to see a lot of happiness from doing it. And, it hasn't always been easy. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, that was my favorite. Just this weekend in Dallas, like we went into this cowboy shop and
Yeah.
everyone was buying cowboy hats and they're like expensive.
Yeah.
And I just remember, one of the nice cowboy hat that I gave away one time at like Spanish Fork Hot Springs. This tourist from, I think she was from like Korea or something.
Yeah.
She like complimented me and next thing you know, she was,
Walking away with the
walking away
hat.
with my cowboy hat. So yeah, it's been fun, and it's kind of, it teaches me about myself.
Yeah.
Like, why do I need to hold on to this, or why not?
That's super interesting. I feel like I have a similar perspective on that. I think for me, it came like, I don't know if you knew this, but when I was in high school, my house burned down. So like
No, I
all
didn't
my
know that.
stuff, like everything, kind of just
wow.
like shirt on, my backpack, and like that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
it, So you just like start to get all these new things, but
Wow.
you totally detach from like everything that you had, and you really understand like how little those things mean when you think that they mean a lot.
Yeah.
Another thing that came to mind when you were talking about like people's reactions to it. I had this experience. I was actually at the Salt Lake City airport, and I have like all my guys like gear with me, all the the vests and all that stuff, and it was just kind of like loose, and I like had it in my arms or whatever, and I went up to this like one of the convenience stores, and this lady like at the counter, she was just like, "Hey, would you like me to fold all that for you and put it in a bag?" And dude, I'm talking, I had like 40 vests with me. Like and I was like, most of the time I probably would have been like, no, it's okay. Like, probably in a rush or like didn't want help or something like that. I was just like, yeah, sure, I would. And I kid you not, she sat there and just folded every single piece.
Wow.
Of that. And I just like, I don't know, I felt so like honored that like somebody would go out of their way to just like help me.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to be able to like whereas most of the time I probably would have said no, this time I said yes, and I felt good for letting this person help me.
Absolutely.
With it's so interesting. I know you like keep a like such a gratitude thought and things like that. Like what are your thoughts on that?
Well, simple. You gifted her the opportunity to give service. I think a lot of the times when we think of service like it's just like us doing something. But
Yeah.
you definitely, gave her the opportunity to serve, and people need that. I think we need more of that. And sometimes people look at it as like a bad thing to like accept help. I think that's one of the things that Watt has taught us is that like we all need help.
We need it.
Right. And so I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe I don't know, if you weren't in Watt, maybe I'm interested to know like if you would have had that same response, to accept the help. Cause I think Watt has definitely taught us that like we cannot be on this path alone. We need brotherhood. We need support system. We need those people in our lives. And so giving people the opportunity to serve us is also service.
Yeah.
I think more people need to realize that.
Where do you think we've learned that, and what, like, what was there something like, I feel like you may have like had this approach to life like previously coming into Watt, like, but was there a time in Watt that you were like, it kind of like shifted for you, better perspective?
I think I have had that sort of perspective coming into Watt, because the way I look at things, I'm just always willing, like family, friends, no matter what they need, like I'm there. You need something, I will do my best. Like drop everything, no questions asked, like not thinking about my schedule, not thinking about if it's inconvenient or not. Like friends, family, like you need something, I'm doing it. And so I came into Watt already with that kind of, that perspective.
But on the counter side, accepting help.
So I think what Watt has done for us men is it has broken down like all of our barriers. It has broken down all of our walls, and it has shown us who we are. We're not the tough guy. We're not the successful millionaire. We're not the this. We're not that. We are a human being. And we struggle. And so I think, Watt has really helped us men, first of all, feel safe with each other. Second, to recognize that we're not alone and that we're in a safe place with these brothers. And then third, to really accept that we need help. We need support, and it's okay. And so I think that's kind of what it's done for a lot of men, is just like broken down those masks, those walls.
I noticed that when you started to talk about that, you got a little bit emotional. Why is that?
Oh, I just get emotional all the time.
I mean, I think there's something to be said about like, do you think it was something that before Watt it wasn't like introduced that like those things were okay to you?
Specifically, like asking for help, or
asking for hope and breaking down like your walls and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone goes through it. I think it's easier for some than others. Some have years and years of just that resistance to help and to facing things, and thinking that they can do it on their own. Like the years of that, I feel like I had less, and so I was like kind of more willing to accept the help, because I'm willing to give the help, and so I kind of see it as if I'm willing to give it, I'm also willing to get it. But I think it's harder for others to see that, and so maybe it took longer.
Why do you think men don't reach out for help?
Men have a lot of pressure. We have a lot of pressure in society today. There's a lot of people counting on men, wife, kids, job, community. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of pressure. And I feel like the natural instinct is to continue just to carry it all. Just keep going, stack it on, keep going, carry it all. That's like the natural instinct, I think, just to carry it all with us, and then kind of just push through it, man up and push through it. I think that comes kind of natural, but you get to a point where we realize that there's a better way.
Yeah.
There's a better way. There's an easier way. And that is, unloading some of this burden that we carry as men and accepting it. And so I think, yeah, there's just the pressure of society to be um, everything, to carry everything. And it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the alternative is?
Well, what?
Yeah.
This has been, I know for me, this has been, I'm in a little bit of a unique situation where my kids live in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm not with my kids, and a lot of the things that Watt has taught and a lot of things that we work on is, becoming better in your relationships, be better father, better husband. My situation is unique in the sense I haven't been really with my kids, and my relationship status has kind of been all over the place. So really, quite frankly, since I've been with Watt. And so, yeah, I think it's just when I do go back and be with my kids, and ultimately it's made me a better version of myself, even if I'm not with my kids right now.
Yeah.
It still has taught me how I want to be, with them. And it's taught me that just has given me some important lessons that I'm going to take back when I am finally able to be with my kids again.
Yeah. It's been a while, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
man, it's been way too long. No kid has ever should have to go through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever
Yeah.
had to go through as a person, as a man, as a father. To be away from your kids, it's like it's like a hole that I wake up with every single day.
Yeah.
In my heart, But I acknowledge that, and then I move forward every single day with whatever it is that I can do.
Yeah. I feel comfortable asking you this question on the sense of like how positive and in gratitude you stay all the time. In what we talk about, like these trials in our life, being like Melissa referred to them as shit, right? And the shit fertilizes like our life, and it helps it grow. Sometimes we can also like take away lessons from that, whether it's like whatever it can be. I mean, what do you like? It's like we know, like it's been a while for this. Like, what do you think like are the lessons in this? Like, what do you think like you've been able to take away from these things that have been going on in your life?
Yeah, I 100% believe that. You plant a seed and you bury it, and you take care of it, water it, and it grows into something beautiful. I 100% believe that everything that happens to us is a gift. And not being with my children at this time of their life, there is a gift in there. There's lessons in there. I don't understand them all. I don't know the answers. I don't know why. I do know that it could always be worse, and that's kind of one of my mottos is that, like, people ask me, how are you doing? And I say, I'm always good. And some people are like, you can't always be good. And I'm like, you know what? I'm always good even when I'm not good. Because I don't know, I've been fortunate enough to like travel the world and see that it could always be worse.
Yeah.
And so as far as I know, my children are healthy. They do have me, they have a father that loves them. And this time it's not forever. And so things could always be worse. I think I'm still trying to learn the lessons in that. But I have gotten to a point of acceptance. Like I've gotten to a point where instead of like questioning why, I've now gotten to a point where I'm just genuinely trying to see the gifts in this situation.
Yeah. You mentioned like always being good. I think there's like some like sauce in there of like, you could choose to be happy all the time, or you could choose to be miserable all the time. And it's like,
Exactly.
if I think it's an amazing ability to be able to choose to like be in a good mood when you have nothing to be in a good mood about, because it's
Absolutely.
so
But you
easy.
do have something to be in a good mood
Yes,
about.
yes.
That's the thing, you know?
But you think your world is crumbling, or like, it's like, oh, I got an F on this test, or like, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's real world adult problems that are worse than that, but it's like, why not choose to be in a good mood instead of like just choosing to be in a bad mood all the time? I think when we talk about like emotional regulation and all, like our emotions chart and things like that, it's like you have happiness, you have anger, like you have all these different emotions. Like, why wouldn't I choose to be at like a happiness, like as much
Totally.
as I can, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'll feel these different like emotions, but what if my thermostat was just like set at happiness all the
Mhm.
time? And I think I've always admired how like you keep that at the center of everything. It's like, I'm just in a good mood.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like, one of the things I live by is everything is perspective. Every single thing is perspective. It's all the lens that you look at it, everything. And so that keeps me going. That keeps me going. No matter what is happening, I can look at it through a lens of gratitude. I can look at it through a lens of, yeah, I have shit going on. I have problems in my life, but I can see those things with a perspective that helps me to get through them, that helps me to try and search for the lesson in that. And so I think there's no better, easier way to switch your mind frame and to switch your the way you're feeling than changing your perspective.
How would you advise people to like keep a positive perspective in life?
Gratitude is a good way, you
Mhm.
know? There's so many
How do you practice gratitude?
there's so many ways that so much of the world is always trying to tell us what's wrong, what don't we have, what's why this is going to go wrong or this or that, like that fear, anxiety. Um we need to channel all that out,
Yeah.
you know? Little simple practices like getting off the phone, like we did this weekend at the Ludus, like we went into the just an hour without our phone. Like, it's amazing what that can do. Like, an hour without your phone, just inside, listening to your thoughts, getting answers, breathing. Like, it's amazing.
You know how hard that was for most of the guys?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane. How was your experience with that?
At first, like the first 5 minutes, I was like, this is going to be a long hour. Like, this is going to be a long hour. And
Because we
then,
have so much like distraction in front of our face. It's just like
yeah,
we're doing one thing and then distraction, doing another. It's like
totally.
it's crazy.
Oh, it's really like a sickness, and then I started just to kind of notice my surrounding. It was raining, so it was kind of a beautiful rainy afternoon there in Dallas, and next thing you know, I'm kind of working through some thoughts in my head and some different things. I was thinking about my kids and a thought that came to me. It's like it's amazing what your thoughts and brain can work out with
Mhm.
with intention, right? It's amazing what you can do with intention. I think that's kind of one of the key things is how many times are we doing something, at 30%, at 50%, at 10%, we're putting tiny bit of our attention to it and we expect to get an answer. We expect to work through a problem. I'm like, I sat there for an hour and I got some like, this is what I need to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is the plan, And so I think it's incredible what we can do with intention. And I think just little practices like that make us have the perspective and see things.
And that I had so much gratitude in that. It was just
Mhm.
like there was a small portion of it where I was like, okay, problems, whatever. And then like after that, my mind was like clear.
Yeah.
And I was probably like the first 10 minutes, I was like thinking about like things I probably need to like figure out. After that, I was just like kind of looking around. And I was like, that tree's dope. Like,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
like the wind blowing right now, like for us, it was like just probably like 70 degrees, you
Yeah.
know, like it was a really, really nice day. And it's just like gratitude for everything that was around me. And
Yeah.
I think it's just like, you're right. Talking about intention, like I think having intention like makes us grateful in senses of like practicing gratitude, like, you know, you send your accountability partners like your gratitudes for the day, or like going and sitting in nature for an hour or something like that. But it's like it's a little bit of intention that has to go along with that to
Yeah.
be able to reframe like your mind to gratitude. I think we're innately wired to like kind of look at more the negative side of
Look for the
things.
problem. Look for
Yeah.
the yeah.
Well, I think it's a survival thing too,
Yeah.
like an instinct, like down to like our roots
Yeah.
of just like where's the problem? Like how can I
Where's
fix
the
it? You
threat?
know,
Yeah.
like where am I gonna get killed here or something? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's just
Totally.
like, but and so I think we do have to be like intentional about like looking for that gratitude. And so yeah, I think that's great. How's the
R-
rest of the
r-
Misogi for you?
Yeah. Just to end on
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that reminds me. One time I was having a job interview. It was for the job coaching for Cirque du Soleil. And I swear that as soon as I said this answer, the guy doing the interview like immediately knew like, okay, this is the guy,
Yeah.
right? And he asked me, a question. He's like, what do you do, when you have these types of problems or whatever, right? And I just straight up told him like, I don't believe in problems. I only believe in solutions.
Mm.
And so he was kind of like, he really loved that. And it's true though, if you're constantly looking for those problems, you're gonna find them. But if you can calm your mind, breathe, and get out all the distractions, you can start to see solutions, right? And that's what we truly are capable of is finding those solutions. So
Yeah, I think people get like so overwhelmed with like these problems too. In a sense of like they really take like 5 minutes to probably solve, like if you actually think about them and stuff. And so it's super I know a lot of people that have like really messy lives. They're just like they always have a problem. Like they always have an issue. And I know people like I mean Jimmy, for example, he's like his life is always pretty clean. You know, like
mhm.
he doesn't usually have a lot of like stuff built up, you know, because it just kind of like gets it off the plate, off the table. But the other people that like have problems all the time, it's like hey, you got to be just looking for a problem. Like
Absolutely.
you got to be like you can't live without having a problem. Like how does that work? You know,
Yeah.
I grew up with it. You know, my dad's like he thrives in this chaos, like
Mhm.
this constant chaos all the time, and like it works for him. And I'm like,
Mhm.
great. I hated it like all the time. I'm just like dude, we could just solve all these and we'd be
Yeah.
fine, you know? And it's
Yeah.
just like a stack on stack on stack, or like,
Mhm.
and I'm like, delegate, 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 you
Yeah,
know? Like,
exactly.
it's so interesting. Pivoting a little bit, tell me how that Misogi challenge went for you, because that was
Oh
like
man.
recent.
Yeah. Honestly, I loved it. Like I
Tell them a little bit of
genuinely
like what it was about too.
so the Misogi challenge, it's basically a Japanese purification ritual. And it's supposed to be one hard day of the year that makes every other day a lot easier. Every other day, nothing compared to your Misogi challenge. And I had heard about it from the other groups in, a couple of years. And honestly, oh, and I didn't get to do it with group fives. And so Jimmy let me go with group six. And I was a little bit worried about it, but during it and doing the Misogi challenge and, you know, listening to like we had Marines there, basically, and Mo, I was like, I love this.
Mm,
I love pushing myself, pushing my body. And I was thinking to myself while I was doing it, like, none of this really is hard compared to what I've done, in my life, like as training as an athlete, as a gymnast. Like, none of this really is that hard. The problem is I haven't done that
yeah.
in 10 years. I haven't pushed my body really in 10 years. And it
Yeah.
really goes to show you like where we're at and what really we are capable of, you know? And I was thinking, geez, I'm, you know, relatively, you know, I move every day. I'm not super extremely fit, but I'm relatively fit. I was just, you know, there's guys in the group that are not
Yeah.
fit and do not, you know, move and work out. And so I was kind of, you know, they, kudos to them because everyone finished. Everyone finished and we had, you know, a few guys couldn't make it. So, you know, carrying the things and stuff, we had like less guys but everyone did awesome. We had a couple guys that like, you know, were like puking in the grass and stuff. There was like fire ants. We doing the crawl,
Yeah.
you know, the crawl through the thing, and they would be calling out ants, and we look, there's like mountains of like fire ants, you know, and thankfully I had this like long sleeve shirt and I'm like, oh, well, I'm wearing that.
Yeah.
I'm wearing that. So I had the long sleeve shirt. Other guys, they had like the fire ants, red marks all over them. And so,
dude, those army crawls are brutal.
Oh man.
I was
that
I swear we did like half a mile to like at least.
I think that was probably, like, yeah, my sides started to like cramp up a little bit, but like in general, like all of it wasn't too bad. And I was like, I like this. I love pushing myself. The issue that I've had in my life, you know, even when I was an athlete and a gymnast, is getting to there on my own. Getting to that place where I'm pushing myself that much on my own. That is what I was trying to work through in my Muskogee challenge in my head. Why I'm not able to do that on my own. Why do I need some, you know, Marine about to kick me in the ass if I don't keep going or yelling at me? Like, why do I need that?
I think we were like, as athletes, we were conditioned like by like having a coach and like, you know, and when the coach isn't around, it's like, okay, that's kind of like our off time, you know? And so I think we just like so many repetitions and so many years of like, you know, you have a coach like for this thing and like that coach pushes you to your limits, you know? And so like, did you find the answer to that?
I'm working through it. But like I said, there are athletes, you know, the great athletes that you hear of, and I know many that I can think of, you know, in even in gymnastics world and stuff that I've trained with, that I've saw, and a lot of them, like, they didn't need that. Then they were there, they had that self motivation.
What do you think the difference is?
It's definitely a unique personality trait that not everyone has, that only a very select few have, which makes them achieve that level.
Do you think it's a little bit of like insanity?
I think, yeah, it could be, you know, a little bit of that obsessive insanity, but that's what it takes. The other side of that is, for example, I really enjoyed my career, my gymnastics career. I felt like I was well balanced. Family, training, time off, like I was well balanced. And looking back at it, I wouldn't have changed anything because, you know, I felt like I was really well-rounded, where other athletes, you know, they didn't have the family time. They didn't have the vacations. They, you know, and they cut out all that to sacrifice everything for their sport, which is what they wanted to do. I, on the other hand, just feel like for me in my life, I kind of lived and kind of had that balance, you know, in my training and stuff. But yeah, I it's kind of like a little bit of a obsession.
I think it's like the question at the end of the day is like, who wins? Yeah. You know, is it does the person that like was good at their sport, but like they also prioritize all these other things, like do they win, or is it the person that just like killed their whole other like life, you know, but they were elite, like top of the top at this like one thing, right? You know, and I think that goes into like all factors of life, you know. It's a super like interesting like paradigm to think about. Yeah. And I think, I mean, a lot of those traits, definitely they move on with you after you're an athlete. And I think that's kind of what I'm struggling right now in my life is going back as an athlete. Okay, why wasn't I able to be like that? And I'm talking about my own personal, like you ask anybody else and they, you know, they would see me as
someone that was dedicated and
Yeah.
but like from my own knowing myself,
Self-talk. Yeah.
yeah, you definitely bring those with you, in business and after you move on from athletics. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to work through right now is how do I get that self motivation
Mm.
to do the work when I don't have a coach there, right? But also that's why it's important to have people around us, like in WAD, and have mentors, have people that can keep you accountable. And so that's one of the good things about WAD is now you have like these brothers that will keep you accountable. You tell them your goals. Okay, I want to do this. This is my goal, and then they come after you if you're not doing them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's. Also think a lot of people's self-talk in the group is, I'm fit, but I'm not as fit as I could be. I'm financially well off, and I'm not like where I could be. I have good relationships with my family, but they could be better. Like, how do you think we go from that to being satisfied, or do we ever become satisfied?
That kind of jumps back to so part of the Misogi challenge is the night before we had to write a letter. And in this letter, Jimmy, asked us to write the story of what we are still telling ourselves, the story that's still holding us back in our life. And then we had to draw a representation of that story on this bag that we were going to fill up with sand, carry the sand with us throughout the whole challenge. And so the story that I was carrying with me, I look at my life as I kind of looked at different levels of living, and I kind of looked at my life like as very, very blessed. I've been living, I would say, like an above average lifestyle. I've traveled the world since I was a kid. I've been all over. I have experienced incredible just experiences that like people would only dream of, and I feel like I've lived a really, really good above average life. And people that don't know me looking from the outside would say like, wow, like, you've done this, what a great life. But the measurement of that for me is I've done all that without fully being 100% like dedicated, 100% organized in my planning, goal setting. Like I've done all of that. I feel like with putting not all of me.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's where it comes to the point where you have to really look at yourself and be like, are you giving your all? Is this everything that you could be doing? And for me, the answer has been no, right? Even though other people would see it as, and I think that's really how you get to the next level. And so the story that I was telling myself and that I left behind was trying to convince myself that an above average life was good enough.
Yeah. So what do you think the measurable like self-reflection points will be like going forward, like from like knowing if you're like giving it your all in certain areas or not? Like, have you found one yet?
Well, I definitely think I know. By the way, I got this water from Jimmy's fridge here. It says sparkling water, which means it's supposed to be carbonated.
It is not sparkling.
Sparkling, right? That's what sparkling is, right? But there's no carbonation at all. and when something's flat and it tastes a little bit flat, well, it's not even flat. It's less than flat. So I'm confused with this water, Jimmy. Anyways,
slight intermission.
Yeah, I think for me, the measurement for that is consistency and discipline.
Okay.
Right? Because it's a simple law. Anything done over time consistently will produce whatever. And so consistency and discipline is for me is going to be the measurement of, am I doing, am I fulfilling what I'm trying to do? Have I been consistent? Have I been disciplined?
As a previous athlete, you know what it takes too. Like, you know that it's something that sucks like for a little bit, and then it like doesn't suck as much anymore because you just continue to do it, right? I was talking about this on a podcast yesterday of just like, discipline is only hard. Like, discipline is only discipline when it's like difficult to do. After that, like for Dustin Peterson, like going to work out isn't hard for him. He probably enjoys it a ton. And like, because, he's just done it for so long that it's just like, it's routine now, that's not discipline. What discipline is like doing something that you probably don't want to do at first, and continuing to do it, knowing that on the other side of this, it's going to be a good thing. And so I think it's an interesting thing to look at of like, okay, like, is this discipline for me? Is it something that's like easy to do?
Yeah.
And maybe it's like super easy for somebody to like spend time with their kids. And for some people, it's probably not, like maybe they need to just like put their phone away and go and just like have like playtime with their kids for like an hour a night or something. That's discipline. It's not discipline for everybody though.
Oh yeah, definitely not
and
for
so
me.
I think identifying those areas is probably like the most important part. And then I think everything else like kind of takes care of itself from there. Once you put in like the systems and processes to like make it easy. So
yeah, absolutely. And just making a decision, I think, instead of making a decision every day of what you're going to do, make the decision once of doing something, and then you've already made the decision. It's like the more locked in you are on your plan, on your goal, on what you want to accomplish, the more locked in focus you are on that, the decision's been made, So I think that for me going forward is also just with different goals that I have, just getting locked in. And I've seen it, like I love watching Jimmy now recently. He's really, I would say he is more locked in than I've seen him, on his like fitness and nutrition and his all around wellness. And it's so cool to see. And it really, you can notice when someone is just like locked in. And so
I think it's really like inspiring to see him like leading from the front in those aspects. Cause I think that's something that like a lot of people really, really struggle with, is like actually like loving themselves and loving their bodies and things like that. And I think like most of the guys that come into the group, that is probably like one of the bigger areas that they've just let go in their life. Whether they're like business owners or like just high performing people in general, it's like, they might go to the gym and work out and things like that, but it's like how good is like their actual diet? Like, how much sugars are they intaking? Like Jimmy's like sugar free, like totally. And it's just been, he says that he's been like dropping weight like tremendously, and he feels healthier than he ever has. And it came from like the retreat where he like didn't have his phone for like a week.
Right.
And I think like we can go back to like the intention of all of it, like, just really figuring out like what areas of your life, like, do you need to like go back into, and like get better at, like be better in certain areas. And like at first it was probably discipline for him. And then now it's like not eating sugar is probably like easy. Like he probably doesn't crave sugar anymore,
Yeah. If I had days out of your system and you're good to go.
Yeah. 100%. Hugh, one last thing for the people, actually 2 last things.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were to go back to your 20-year-old self, what would you tell him?
My 20-year-old self. Oh man, Chance. I would tell him to be prepared to trust God no matter what.
I love that.
Because you don't always get to plan your life the way you want.
Amazing. And then the last thing, if you have a message for your kids that are watching.
Being a father is something that I knew I always wanted to do. And I'm like obsessed with my kids. I had a good father that was a good provider, but he was a provider, and that's what he did. And so he didn't necessarily know how to show affection or show love. And I think that's part of that, like that culture and age and time where, parents just like thought they were doing a good job by putting food on the table,
And they did their best.
and they did their best. And so, but I didn't really learn much per se, I guess, from my dad, And so I feel like right now I take every opportunity when I'm with my kids to like teach them. I'm like this. Um, every moment is like a learning moment for my kids, and I love that. I love teaching them everything. Um, I would just tell my kids, and like I tell them every day, to be a good person, to love, to spread love. And one thing that we do with them is like, and again, I haven't been with my kids in a while, but one thing I do with them is anytime they're having any sort of like, stress or whatever, we always do like kind of like just some breaths where we like inhale the good and exhale kind of the bad, And so teaching them just that emotional regulation. And
Mm.
yeah, I love them. They're amazing. Wilder and Wave. Wave is my little mini me. She's like little little crazy, just like I was. I think she's like really close to me. And Wilder's a smart little boy, and he's very kind of analytical and thinks. And yeah, I'm just excited for the day that I get to be with them again. And yeah, I spread a lot about like equal parenting rights and things like that. And unfortunately, it can be a tough situation, for kids. But I just keep putting my faith in God and keep knowing that everything is a lesson. There's beauty in everything, and for whatever reason, myself and my kids, and we're all going through this for something, and it will all be as it needs to be in the end. So I just want them to also to trust God as well, and to know that He's there for them.
Mm. I love that. Thank you, brother. Thank you for always being just like a light in everybody's life that you come through, and
Thank you,
keep up
Chance.
the positivity and the perspective. I think you can help a lot of people with that. Much love, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't get to do the standing on the chair guess. Like I said, like sometimes I told Chance, sometimes I'm in the podcast, I feel like I'm, a little bit on like the sad side. Like I want to be like the jumping in the chair podcast guy. But no, yeah. Life is beautiful. It's a beautiful mess sometimes, and it's beautiful. And I think we just spread love and light, and we will be a magnet for that as well. So thank you, Chance. You're young. I admire you young guys in the group, like you young kids. I can't imagine being surrounded by, incredible examples and leaders and mentors at such a young age. Like I'm excited to see what, since I met you, I knew you were going to and have done some amazing things. I'm excited to watch you grow and flourish and do amazing things, Jan. So and congratulations on everything, all your all your success in the
Thank you,
group,
brother.
and looking forward to just continuing the relationship, buddy.
Thank you, man. Hugh Smith, ladies and gentlemen.